Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about some nationalist movements that are going on, in Africa and even in Europe to some extent and in India that we won't really see much happen right now, but these are slowly growing movements that will influence decolonization after World War II. So at first, let's look at India. Now remember, the British are ruling India indirectly, and there's several problems going on. One is that the Indians have to pay the British government positions in India, so thank you for invading us, Great Britain. Now we'll pay you your salary. I mean, come on now. Another is that India's economy is dictated by British needs, and so it's not to the benefit of Indians, it's to the benefit of the British. So we have a group of Western educated leaders that come together and form the Indian National Congress, and they have a couple of goals. One is that they're concerned about the growing poverty in India, and so they'd like to reverse that. Another is they're concerned about how India is being drained of resources and wealth to Great Britain, so they want more control over their own economy. They also want more Indians in higher positions of power, under British rule, and more representation. We also have religious tension going on at this time between the Hindus and the Muslims. Now remember, the Muslims come in because of traders in the Indian Ocean, also the Mughals that are, the people in power are Indian. And so there's religious tension, and we'll see kind of the result of that later on. Gandhi comes about during this time and leads nonviolent movements and protests against the British. And again, he's Western educated, and so he uses that education to his advantage to try and get the British out. And again, we're not going to see anything come of this right now, but something will happen later. Okay, leaving India and going to Egypt. In Egypt, we see kind of a similar thing in India, that the Egyptians, a lot of the elites are Western educated. And these Western educated elites write against the British basically for being racist against the Egyptians, using that social Darwinism and monopolizing their economy. So they want to take back their economy and their country. We see a lot of anti-British revolts and protests, and the British do leave to some extent, but they still really control the government. In Turkey, which remember was a state formed out of the old Ottoman Empire, they're going to try and westernize, led by their leader Ataturk, and he's again going to try and westernize Turkey to be competitive with the Western European states, and he's also going to give women more rights. With the Jews, we see kind of a nationalistic movement going on, which started in period 5, but it really is going to come to something now, especially after World War II, where the Jews want their own country. They want a homeland. This is, Jewish nationalism is known as Zionism. And so they plead to get their own homeland. And Great Britain says, okay, we will help you. We will give you land in Palestine, which we have colonized, and you can settle there and make your own state. This is known as the Balfour Declaration. However, there are already people living there. The Palestinians are living there, and so, this is going to lead to problems later on. In Africa, we do see, some protest movements against the Europeans, but they're not, we don't have as many Western educated leaders like we do in Egypt and in India, but these protest movements will influence decolonization later. So again, not a lot happening right now, but you need to know kind of the things going on under the surface that will eventually become big events later on, especially after World War II. I'll see you next time.